Certainly. My name's Dr. Edward Lopez.
What do you do for a living, Dr. Lopez?
So since 2015, I've started my own private consulting firm, Forensic Pathology LLC, and before that I was employed as a chief medical examiner here in the state of Midlands.
What's your educational background?
In 1980, I received my BS in Health and Biomedical Sciences from Purdue University. In 84, I got my MD at Emory University. I did some rotations down in hospitals in Georgia, but I never really liked that. I'd always wanted to go into forensics, so I came back to Midlands to pursue that.
Now, out of university, what was your initial career?
So, like I said, after all the hospital stuff, I came here to Midlands and I was employed by the medical office here in Midlands County. I started as a research assistant in '89. I was promoted to medical examiner in 1990. And by '93, I was chief medical examiner, a position I held until 2014 when I left to start my current business.
Now, as chief medical examiner of Midlands, how many autopsies have you performed?
Look, counsel, we don't like to think about it, but people die every day. And if you passed away between '93 and 2014 in Midlands, it's likely you ended up on my table. I performed well over 3,000 autopsies in my time with the Midlands Medical Office.
Dr. Lopez, why are you here today?
I've been retained by defense counsel to review the report offered by Dr. Quincy.
Now, before we move on to Dr. Quincy's report, did you use reliable facts and data to come to your conclusions today?
Certainly. I reviewed several exhibits, Dr. Quincy's report, as well as the medical history of Parker Page, and relied on my own experience to draw these conclusions, which was sufficient facts and data.
Did you use sufficient facts and data as well as principles and apply them to the facts of the case today?
Certainly. Forensic pathology has been a field started in England in the late 1800s, so we've been doing this stuff for about 150 years now. So I've relied on reliable principles that have been tested over the decades in my field.
Is this commonly known practice in your field?
Certainly. Everything I'm going to be describing to you has been used throughout my field.
And does it have widespread support?
Again, certainly.
Now, moving on to today's case, you said you were tasked at reviewing Dr. Quincy's report. Did you find any mistakes?
Yes. The two primary areas of issue that I had with Dr. Quincy's report were his time of death calculation and then his cause of death estimation.
Now, Dr. Lopez, how exactly do you calculate time of death?
So, when one looks at time of death, one always has to look at the context in which the death occurs. Now, when Dr. Quincy calculated time of death, he used the Gleister formula, which might get you an A in Forensics 101, but certainly is not applicable in Parker Page's case. What should have been used is observing the rigor mortis of Parker Page and looking at age, environmental factors, and previous medical history to come to a better conclusion.
Now, to begin, did the age of Parker Page have any role in her time of death?
Certainly. Parker Page was 12 years old when she passed away. Now, what this means is she had a more active heart. Blood circulated through her body more efficiently. And what this also means is her body temperature was likely a half a degree to a degree higher than the average human body temperature, which would have accelerated her rigor mortis.
Moving on to her previous medical history, was this any concern revolving around today's case?
Certainly. As we know, Parker Page was diagnosed with osteogenesis imperfecta, which is known to the layman as brittle bone disease. Now, what this means is that bones do not form as well. Bones are less dense. And subsequently, Parker Page's total body mass was, on average, less dense than the average human being. Again, something that would have accelerated rigor mortis.
Going into environmental factors, were environmental factors at all relevant to today's case when determining time of death?
Yes, and this was the key that Dr. Quincy certainly overlooked in drawing his conclusions. The average temperature on the weekend of July 14th to 15th in Midlands at that time was 93 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, as the natural processes are occurring in the body, as rigor mortis occurs, temperatures above 80 degrees Fahrenheit will double the rate of certain metabolic breakdowns, which will dramatically accelerate one's rigor mortis.
Now, Dr. Lopez, did Dr. Quincy use any of these factors when determining time of death today?
No. Dr. Quincy relied on a simple formula, which again would make sense in a laboratory setting, but certainly can't be applied in the field in the way in which it was.
When do you personally think, according to your research, that Parker died?
May I use this board to illustrate?
Please do.
So, when we're looking at something like rigor mortis, so first we want to start with our factors. Okay, so we're looking at Parker Page's age, we're looking at medical history, and then we're looking at the environment. And rigor mortis will typically take between 18 and 36 hours. Now the average of that being 27 and a half. So we can put that right down here. So we're looking at 18 hours to 36 hours.
Council, I have an idea. It's gonna make it easier. Why don't you move these over here? Right over here, so that everybody in the fence on the state can see it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So just point it like that so they can see it, so we can see it. It's all there. That's good. All right. The prosecutor, everybody see this thing?
Please continue, Dr.
You
Lopez.
see it?
Where was I? I was talking about the age medical history. Right. So when we're looking at rigor mortis and the three factors in which I just described, on average, Parker Page's rigor mortis would have taken about 27 and a half hours. Now, looking to the facts of the case, we know that Parker Page's body, the body temperature, or rigor mortis was observed at approximately 5:45 p.m. on the 15th. So that puts us at 17:45 on the 15th. So now, working backwards from that, and factoring in her age, her medical history, and the environmental conditions, that's going to move us from this 27-hour mark down towards 18 hours. Now, again, with her osteogenesis imperfecta, with the accelerated breakdown of metabolic processes in her body at that time, that means rigor mortis would have taken approximately 22 hours to occur. So, working backwards from that 22-hour mark, from 5:45 the next day, that means we're going to see rigor mortis starting at about 7 to 8 p.m. the day before. And then working within that range, we can come to the definitive conclusion that Parker Page's death occurred between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. on July 14th.
Thank you, Dr. Lopez. You may be seated. Now, Dr. Lopez, you mentioned a second mistake in Dr. Quincy's report. Can you go into more detail on this?
Yes. Dr. Quincy noted a particular bruise that occurred on the left-hand side of Parker Page's clavicle. Now, while this bruise may have stood out in a patient that did not have osteogenesis imperfecta, her condition, Parker Page's condition of OI would have meant that bruising and any small impact could have caused significant bruising.
Now, Dr. Quincy said that this bruise was caused by a 2.25 centimeter piping staff that was in possession of Jordan Ryder. Now, going on that, is there any other objects that are 2.25 centimeters that could have caused this exact bruising?
When you're out in nature, Parker Page simply bumping into a tree, even leaning on a hiking staff, tripping and hitting a pebble on the ground, almost anything out on that trail could have caused that bruise. Dr. Quincy said that that bruise must have occurred before the death because of the color of the bruise too, which was particularly strange. I noted that in his report.
Why so, Dr. Lopez?
Well, color is not a standard practice in determining time of bruising. Dr. Quincy claimed that this bruise must have occurred before the time of death because of its color. That certainly can't be true. That is not a widely accepted practice.
So what are your conclusions in this case, Dr. Lopez?
My conclusion is that Parker Page's death was accidental. Due to respiratory issues on the day, her osteogenesis imperfecta and the high heat, that creates a perfect storm for that poor girl to trip and fall.
Thank you. Any further questions?